Order. The next speaker is the Honourable Minister of Small Business. Order, honourable members, order.
Chairperson of the House, I am sure that many of our people sitting at home are getting tired of this so-called broken this, broken that. As a matter
order,
of
honourable
fact,
members, order.
this very constitution that these members are busy talking, you see they're sick of the constitution. This very constitution that they can come and wave in front of us here. We are proud members of the African National Congress. We brought it to where it is today. This very constitution that we will continue to respect is the constitution that we drew, writing on the blood, the sweat of members of the African National Congress as members of this country. So, Chairperson of the House, this future that some members talk about is a future that we decided upon many years ago. This constitution that they wave in front of us, and by the way, this former president of ours called Rolihlahla Nelson Mandela, this president that they today claim so much to have loved, is the very same people who 30 years ago could not have imagined themselves standing up to receive him in this house. So, honorable members, I wish to state from the onset that the African National Congress will not support this motion. It is a motion aimed at discrediting the leadership of the African National Congress as led by President Jacob Zuma. It is also aimed at undermining the role and responsibility of South Africa in peace-building processes of the African continent. Further, it is aimed at undermining the political, economic, and diplomatic relations of South Africa that South Africa has with the AU member states. Not EU member states, AU member states. The ANC-led government has always respected and upheld the rule of law and has always acted in line with the letter and spirit of the Constitution. This motion is coming from a party whose members, I can dare say, have never stepped into any of the countries of the continent. Are members who have never known what it is to stand between warring factions to stop the war. Members who've never known what it is to duck blows and bullets while working towards peace, security, and stability in the continent. The members who are asking me if you have the capacity to read, go into the history of the role of South Africa in bringing peace in the continent, then you will know. Honorable Speaker, the question of whether South Africa has a legal obligation to arrest a sitting foreign head of state is a complex matter concerning both international and national law as far-reaching implications for the conduct of international relations, including the continent. You will never set foot where you are talking about. You know that you won't set foot there. In terms of customary international law, sitting heads of state and government are accorded criminal and civil immunity in domestic jurisdiction of another state, as well as inviolability of the person. In terms of Section 232 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, 1996, customary international law is law in South Africa unless it is inconsistent with the Constitution or Act of Parliament. Furthermore, Section 4 of the Diplomatic Immunities and Privileges Act, Act number 37 of 2001, specifically incorporates the customary international law rule pertaining to immunities of sitting heads of state and government into the South African domestic law. The International Court of Justice and other foreign jurisdictions have upheld the principle of immunity from criminal jurisdictions and inviolability of sitting heads of state. It is submitted that the complex issues in South Africa's domestic law regarding the immunities and inviolability of sitting president for whom the ICC has issued a warrant of arrest have not been finally considered by the South African courts, as the legal process has yet to be exhausted. The High Court is presently considering the government's application for leave to appeal the decision of the High Court on the matter of South Africa's obligation in this regard. Stop howling. A number of procedural and legal grounds for appeal have been advanced in this regard. The outcome of the appeal process, which may also reach the Constitutional Court, should not be prejudged, as they may ultimately result in a different decision. Honorable Speaker, it should be noted that the indictment of President al-Bashir would have potentially destroyed efforts led by the Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa, as well as the AU, in bringing about peace in the region and the country. In addition, it would have affected South Africa's standing in relation to its national and diplomatic relations in the continent and beyond. And here we sit with members who never lifted a finger to even have us have the diplomatic relations that we have with the African continent. And I repeat again, I would like to see them in Cameroon, in Sierra Leone, in Senegal, in any of the African countries. I've never met any one of them there, all these members sitting this side. I wish to remind this House that it was in the main the efforts also of the ANC under the leadership and guidance of former President Nelson Mandela and its principles of achieving peaceful solutions to conflict-related challenges. South Africa is free today from the demon of apartheid. The evidence of South Africa's commitment to the promotion of peace, stability, and development in the continent is premised on our foreign policy, is clearly demonstrated in our successful interventions as led by former presidents Nelson Mandela, Thabo Mbeki, Kgalema Motlanthe, and this resonates even today through the leadership of President Jacob Zuma and Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa, and indeed in the current chairperson of the AU, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, our own. This, Honorable Speaker, is South Africa's leadership par excellence. I doubt that some of the honorable members left of the House consider this as progress for the African continent. Chairperson, South Africa will therefore continue to uphold its national interests which are not understood by some members of this side of the House, and that our continent, on the basis that we believe that our development is intrinsically linked to that of our neighbors and is premised on the prioritization of the African agenda. Through our collective efforts, we are jointly championing Africa's blueprint for development, Agenda 2063. As we speak to the people of South Africa, these are the facts. In relation to our obligation under international law, South Africa ratified the Rome Statute in 2000 and adopted implementation legislation in 2002. The Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court provides in Article 27 that official capacity, such as head of state, government, or government, would not exempt for a person from criminal jurisdiction under the statute. However, also Article 98 provides that the court may not proceed with a request for the surrender of a person, which would require the requested state to act inconsistently with the obligation under international law with respect to the state or diplomatic immunity of a person or property of a third state, unless the court can first obtain the cooperation of the third state for waiver of such immunity. No such waiver has been obtained from Sudan, which in our view rendered the request from the court to South Africa to arrest and surrender President al-Bashir inoperable. We have consistently stated that South Africa's obligation to the African Union and therefore our responsibility under the African Union Constitutive Act, the principle of the Union Constitutive Act include, among others, sovereign equality and interdependence among states, non-interference by members of state in the internal affairs of another.
Honorable Minister, your time has expired.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I think we've made our statement and it's understood.